Hello, my friends, and welcome back to my channel. This is going to be a collective love reading. So I'm going to be looking at past, present, and future. So you'll know by those energies if you're resonating with this reading. And please only take what resonates, leave the rest. If it doesn't feel like it's your reading, then it's probably not. And if you are someone who doesn't believe in tarot, then I don't know what you're doing here. Like, I get so many comments about how tarot's not real. You're delusional. Your person's never coming back. And it's like, why are you here? Like, why are you even here? It's weird to me. That's strange to me. But anyway, let's get into it. Another thing I wanted to mention, we have patience and planning. Another thing that I wanted to mention that I saw another reader talking about last night, a reader that I love, which is whatever energy you're putting out there is what you're attracting in. So if you are someone who's like, I want to use the example of like people who bash their ex people in comment sections. If you're someone who's like putting that energy out there, putting like, my person's this, my person's that, I'll never give them another chance. That's what you're attracting in. Like, that's the energy you're attracting in. And you're just kind of like wasting your own energy, I just feel called to say. You know, if you really don't want your person back, then stop watching tarot readings about your person coming back, and leave it for the people who these readings are meant for. Anyway, if you are someone, you know, who watches tarot and you see those types of, like, if you see negative comments like that in the comment section, I hope it doesn't get to you. I already tried to start this reading once and I was getting the Two of Swords, which talks about like mental conflict. And for me, like, being on this journey, I know that it's real. I know that everything I've experienced is real. I know I've completely changed. I've seen, you know, the magic happen within me and in my own life. But other people who don't believe in it will try and kind of push you off that path, even if, I'm not even saying they're doing it on purpose, but lower vibrational energy, it's almost like I'm seeing that hot air balloon again. I don't know if I talked about that in the reading yesterday or it was another reading. I can't remember. But it's almost like a hot air balloon as you ascend, as you start to rise. It's almost like all of the lower vibrational people are trying to grab onto the ropes of your hot air balloon and pull you down. So it's important to rise above it. And I'm telling myself that right now as well. But let's get into this reading. We have the Ace of Cups and we have patience and planning. So maybe you've been, you know, manifesting love, manifesting that Ace of Cups. That could be new love. That could be a renewal. We have spiritual union. And that's what I mean. Like, a lot of people don't understand soul contracts or what a spiritual union is. They just, if they've never experienced it, they're never going to get it, right? They're never going to understand it. It's not their fault that they don't understand it. It doesn't make them a bad person. But until you're in that situation, it's impossible for you to understand. You know, if I think back to myself 5 or 6 years ago, I probably would have been that person who was like, like, tarot is, you know, you're crazy. And like, well, I wouldn't, because that's just not who I am. I didn't watch tarot, so I didn't feel the need to like go into tarot communities and tell them it's not real. But interestingly enough, throughout my life, it was kind of belief was kind of programmed out of me. And interestingly enough, throughout my life, I had a friend who also doesn't believe in this. Let's just be clear about that. But she would say to me, let's go get a tarot reading. I'm going to go get a tarot reading for my birthday. I thought it would be hilarious. Do you want to come? And I would say, no, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. And deep down, it's because I was afraid that the tarot reader would be able to tell that I like wasn't happy in my life, or that I was pretending that I was happy. I was afraid of what I was intimidated of what the tarot reader might tell me. Even though I didn't believe in it. So anyway, there's a lot of muggles out there that don't understand it. You may even be surrounded by some. Like I've been feeling that in my life recently. Like a lot of people in my physical world don't believe in what I believe in. And so it's been challenging for me. Like just for example, that reading I did yesterday where I kind of cried, that took my energy. Like for the rest of the day, I was just drained, and usually I can protect my energy pretty well. Usually I can like come back around, but that reading took it out of me yesterday, and just the entire day, I just didn't feel like myself. And, my muggle friend asked me how I was, and I said, I did a reading that kind of drained me. And immediately it was like, that was an invitation to like, it was almost like her invitation to tell me that I shouldn't be doing this for a job. She was like, that doesn't sound fun. Maybe you shouldn't be doing it. And it was almost immediate. And I was like, no, I love my job. I love what I do. I'm going to keep doing it. No. Anyway, I'm getting some weird energy in this reading. I'm getting some weird energy. I almost want to light my sage. We have prosperity begins. So you do have like an Ace of Pentacles and an Ace of Cups here. So it does feel like some sort of pentacle. Why do I always say pantacle? Some sort of pentacle that you've planted is blossoming here. Peaches could be symbolic. I'm hearing that song Peaches. I don't know if you guys remember that. A lot of the music that I channel is older, and then like when I watch I watch Esotero, and when I watch her, she's channeling all this new music, and I'm like, I have no idea what that new music is. I'm so out of touch. I'm so out of touch. Somebody this morning said, do you have WhatsApp? And I'm like, what's a WhatsApp? Seriously, what is WhatsApp? I had to Google it because that's just how out of touch I am. What's a WhatsApp? I don't know. All right, so look, we have lovers. And that's what I mean. Not a lot of people understand divine connections or soul connections or soul contracts. Actually, back to that reader I was listening to yesterday, she says 5% of 5% of the population is on the divine counterpart journey. 85% of the population don't believe in it. 85% of the population believe in the labels, 85% of the population are programmed. Like, think about that. If you were going into, for some reason, I'm thinking of Lord of the Rings and about how the battle of light and darkness. And think about that. We're 5% going up against 85%. And I know you're like, Kelly, that math is not correct. The 10%, this reader that has really been my mentor, she talks about how that other 10% are teachers and doctors and things like that. But imagine going into a battle where you have 5%, 5% of the people, and the other side has 85% people. You would feel outnumbered too. I'm just seeing, again, the battle for Middle Earth. I don't know why I'm seeing that. The battle for Middle Earth. Imagine how intimidating that would be. And I don't know why I'm getting that download right now, but that's what's coming through. So we need to stick together, my friends. We need to stick together against those muggles. And she also said that if you are in a divine connection, a twin flame connection, and you are someone who is, and again, I don't want to trigger anyone by saying this, but if you feel like you're in a divine connection and you are like putting negative energy out there towards your counterpart and saying like, my counterpart's just a narcissist, you're missing the point of the journey. Like that's not divine feminine energy. I know that I have some light workers watching me, but it's not an easy job. Like, it's not an easy job to be that 5% that's up against that 85%. It's daunting. It can be, it can be hard, but it's also part of the journey. And I love this journey. I don't know why I keep shuffling. We have the Magician, awareness. So maybe you're someone who's finally coming into awareness. I don't know where all that came from. My ego's like, stop recording right now, but I'm not going to stop recording. So let's see what this is about. And again, if you don't believe in tarot or you don't believe in this or healing or whatever, what are you doing here? Unless you're curious. We have disruption. So we do have the Tower here, disruption. And we have victory and success. So this is this is like the fact that I was hearing like Middle Earth. I don't know about you if you watched Lord of the Rings, but when I watched Lord of the Rings before I awakened, I related to Lord of the Rings with being an alcoholic. And I saw the ring as like addiction. And Frodo had such a hard time believing that he could actually make that journey and destroy that ring. And it called to him and he kept wanting to like put it on his finger. But now when I think about The Lord of the Rings, or I watched the first two a few months ago, I see it almost as like, again, spirituality, the fight for Middle Earth, the fight like light and darkness. And what I was saying about that battle or whatever, I think it's interesting that we have the Tower and then we have the Six of Wands, victory and success. So just know that whatever you're going through right now is leading you to victory and success. And I'm picking up on a lot of like, that's what I meant yesterday in that reading where I said, when you have a lot of people coming at you telling you, I don't believe in this, like, why are you doing these readings? It can really affect my energy. And I feel a lot of that right now. So I'm just going to pause the video for 1 minute. Much better. It might be a little smoky in here, but that's much better. So just know that whatever Tower moment you're going through or have been through, whatever was removed from your life was removed for a reason, to lead you to this victory and success, Six of Wands. So let's see what this is about. You could be dealing with a fire sign. There's a lot of fire energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. But I just want to see, as I tap the bad energy out of the deck, let's see past energy here. What was in your past? So we have temptation and material and spiritual prosperity and emotional loss. So this is devil energy and the Six of Pentacles. So you could have been, right away what I'm seeing with devil energy is that you could have been in a connection that kind of activated your wounding or activated your shadows. It could also be the fact, remember I said I'm picking up on a lot of like, excuse me, froggy in my throat, releasing, cleansing, healing. June 15th could be symbolic, or January 5th or May 1st. But I was picking up on this like lower vibrational energy. Did I mention the hot air balloon and the lower vibration, like people trying to pull you down? Because I was seeing the devil card when I was talking about that. And again, it's not their fault. I'm not blaming anyone for having that mindset. We all have our different beliefs, but that's kind of how energy works. You know, the more of us that raise up and ascend, the more the lower vibrational energy tries to pull us down. Now, what I'm seeing here in your past energy is it could be that whatever this connection is, because this is a love reading, could have triggered your codependency. And you could have believed that you never were codependent in the past. Like maybe that wound lied dormant in you until you came into this spiritual contract with someone, lover's energy, right? And it could have really activated your codependent energy or unhealthy attachments. Because that devil, you could be dealing with a Capricorn. But this, I know it says material and spiritual prosperity. I'm hearing so many things right now. Just hang on. Let me just sort through the messages here. So let me just stick with what I'm first seeing, which is these two cards, you know, kind of give me the energy. The Six of Pentacles is about equal give and take and reciprocity. And I could talk a little bit about being like a spiritual worker or a light worker in this reading, if it comes through. So just, you've been warned. But I'm just looking at this card and the fact that this person is looking at a fountain, and this fountain has two like water shooter uppers. I don't know the words, what, like fountains. It has two fountains in it. And to me, that's very symbolic of energy and how energy works. And if, you know, if imagine this fountain, if only one fountain is flowing, it disturbs the flow of energy in the main part of the fountain. Whereas if both fountains are flowing and there's equal give and take and reciprocity, then that energy in the main pool of water there flows naturally. But again, envision it like a fountain just like this, where only one side is flowing. It's only going to create flow on this side of the fountain, right? This energy over here won't be flowing. It'll be stagnant. Does that make sense to you? The fact that this came out with Devil, I feel like there is an energy of like an energy imbalance where maybe you were giving more energy than this person. And oftentimes on like these spiritual contracts kind of trigger like unhealthy attachment styles, especially with the Devil card there. So you could have been like overgiving to a situation where someone wasn't reciprocating that energy, and you could have become codependently attached. The other thing I'm seeing, this says material and spiritual prosperity. And I started this reading with a lot of energy about doubting the spiritual journey. So in the past, you could have had a hard time like balancing your beliefs, or recently maybe you've been going through, although I feel like a lot of people who watch me believe in this stuff, but maybe recently or in the past, that lower vibrational energy, that ego mind was, you know, preventing you from really believing in some of this stuff. That won't be for all of you. In terms of love, I am seeing that energy imbalance that I was talking about. If you are someone who was thinking about being a light worker or has been, it's very possible that material and spiritual prosperity lie ahead of you. And if you're overthinking that, or you're feeling afraid, or you're talking yourself out of that, or telling yourself that you could never do that, that's this Devil energy trying to keep you, you know, stuck, trying to keep you down in that lower vibrational energy. So just keep that in mind. We do have the Five of Cups. So for some of you, you could have had to give up a connection where there was not equal give and take with the Six of Pentacles. Because yeah, Five of Cups talks about, it says emotional loss. It talks about sadness, grieving, spilled cups, you know? So it could have been that that connection had to end because it wasn't balanced. Both of those fountains weren't flowing, if that makes sense. What's underneath you? We have mental conflict, so it does feel like there was stagnation. What did I say? I said when this fountain is the only one flowing, the water over here becomes stagnant. And again, that mental conflict, I was talking about the mental conflict of believing in spirituality and not believing in spirituality, and staying in that fear and that ego space where, no, this isn't real, I must be crazy. I'm getting a few different energies in this reading, so just be patient with me, please. So let's go current energy. Current energy, it feels like whatever this is became stagnant. And, you know, maybe you did feel energetically attached to it. It's really interesting how, you know what, I need to talk about this for a minute, because I filmed a reading yesterday. I'm not going to tell you what it was about, because in the end, my guides told me not to post it. I spent an hour and a half filming this reading, and in the end, my guides told me not to post it. Maybe that'll change. It's still in my, you know, it's still there in private mode. But I really had to sit with my intuition. I even talked to my friend about it. I really had to sit with my intuition. And it was a different type of reading for me. And, you know, I felt, my intuition was telling me as a reader that based on all of the readings that I've done for you guys and all of the work and healing you've done, that if I posted that reading, it would confuse you. And it would, you know, I told my friend that I had my spirit, I do have one spiritual friend and I love her very much. But I told her the vision that I was getting, crows to confirm my intuition. Thank you, Mr. Crow or Mrs. Crow or non-binary Crow. I was getting this image of like walking into a room full of alcoholics and like, oh, hey guys, and you guys are all in recovery, and I walk in there with a beer and I'm like, oh, hey, you're all in recovery. Oh, hey, how you doing? And like crack open a beer. That's what it, but that was the vision my guides were giving me about posting this reading. And I was thinking about how like these divine connections, and let's take the, like, I'm not talking about trauma bonding. That is not what I'm talking about. But let's take these spiritual connections. They can almost feel addictive, right? They can almost feel like it's, I'm thinking about my people who are in no contact, trying not to reach out. It almost feels like an addiction. It almost feels like a craving for like an alcoholic beverage or a cigarette. That's the energy that I'm getting here. And I just, you have all worked so hard on your journey that, again, my guides told me that reading, no, don't post it right now. Do not do it. Because I know that a lot of you have worked hard on your healing journey. It's such a complicated journey and situation. And again, 85% of the population will tell us that we're crazy and that it isn't real and that we're wasting our time and things like that. But please take it from someone who has evolved through this journey. It's not crazy. We're not crazy. There's a method to the madness is what I keep hearing. But again, what I was seeing here is like you could have almost felt addicted to someone who wasn't giving you what you needed, like wasn't, their fountain wasn't flowing. And that can actually come from like childhood wounding and wanting to, it could have to do with like a wound that you have from childhood where you felt like your parents never met your needs. So then, you know, that's playing out in a soul contract later on in your life, if that makes any sense. Blink twice if I'm making sense, please. But anyway, let's keep going. Let's go current energy. Current energy. And like I said, I will, this is beautiful. I will post that reading if I feel called to, but I listen to my intuition always, and my intuition was telling me not to post it. So how interesting that I was seeing this, like, I know there's a fountain on this card, but how interesting that I was seeing this card of balance, and I was talking about reciprocity and equal give and take, and how visualize if only one fountain is flowing, what does it do to the water over here? That water doesn't move. Like, it doesn't move. It becomes stagnant. And then we have current energy. We have patience in reverse. So my friend, maybe you're having a hard time being patient. This is temperance. So maybe you're having a really hard time being patient right now with this journey. The other thing that I find beautiful is this triumph and success. That shows an epiphany, that shows a breakthrough moment, that shows a realization. And then we have wisdom, which is Hierophant energy on the bottom. So it feels like right now, even though things may be not coming in for you right now, even though you may be losing your patience a little, it feels like you're having some sort of breakthrough moment, some sort of epiphany when it comes to your own spirituality. And I think that it's beautiful that this card came out, because I was talking about a hot air balloon. And sometimes with the Hierophant, I do get spiritual growth, like spiritual ascension. So I do feel like you're going through some sort of leveling up where maybe you're having a breakthrough when it comes to what this patience means. Like maybe in the past you have been trying to rush things or control it, but this shows you're having a breakthrough when it comes to that energy. Temperance does talk about an imbalance. So you could also be, right now, you could be learning like soul contract, Hierophant energy. You could be learning a very important lesson about how energy works and how energy flows. And you could be learning like, okay, there was an imbalance. You could be having a breakthrough moment about this. Maybe it just happened when I was talking about the fountain. Maybe for some of you, it happened like weeks ago, this breakthrough moment. But it does look like you're having some sort of realization that if things aren't balanced or reciprocal, they can't evolve and grow and, mature and blossom. I'm just looking at this image here. Now, for some of you, you could still be lacking patience or having a hard time with patience, because if you look at this is a little pentacle that's been planted. Remember, we saw the Ace of Pentacles. So this is, this is the pentacle, and it's reminding me of the never-ending story where she says all that's left of Narnia is this one grain of sand. And there's something sad about that, but she says to him, the more wishes you make, the more energy you put into it, the more you believe it, the more this little, and I have chills saying this, the more that little grain of sand will grow and evolve and blossom. And Narnia, or not Narnia, why the fuck did I say Narnia? The never-ending story, whatever that, I can't remember what that was called. Why did I say Narnia? Anyway, the more belief and patience you have, the more it will grow and blossom. And if you think about, I don't want to spoil, like if you haven't seen the never-ending story, what have you been doing? But like in the end, after he makes those wishes, that land comes back. Why can't I remember what that land is called? I'm getting a lot of weird like movies in this reading, like the never-ending story about how, remember the nothing. Think of the nothing as that 85%. The nothing wants to swallow up the magic. The nothing wants to destroy, that magic, that light. It wants to eat it all up. It doesn't want it to exist. So I don't know why I'm getting these messages. It's so weird. But like I was saying, back to what I was saying, this little grain of sand can grow into something so beautiful if you just believe. And now I'm hearing that song, if you just believe. If you nurture it with your intuition, with your belief, with patience. Oh my gosh, it takes patience. So for me, it looks like you're having some sort of breakthrough, some sort of spiritual upgrade. And I know that I can feel when I'm going through a spiritual upgrade. I've been through one in the last few weeks. So maybe you're feeling something similar. If you, like for me, I'm just thinking back to a few years ago, like I could tell when I was going through a spiritual upgrade because like my intuition became stronger, or one day I'd be trying to read my tarot cards and I wouldn't be getting any sort of message. And then the next day I'd pick up my trusty Light Seers tarot and I'd be able to read them I'd be able to read them like this. Like I'd be able to read them like a story. Whereas the day before I had no idea like what the cards were trying to tell me. Anyway, so I do feel like you're someone who's going through some sort of spiritual upgrade, spiritual breakthrough, where maybe you're realizing that it will take patience and that it's going to take time, a whole lot of patience and time. Shout out if you know what song I'm quoting there. I don't know if you heard that, somebody just dragged a chair across the floor. I also think there's some sort of breakthrough going on with reciprocal energy, because just looking at this, again, I feel like whoever you are, you could have been in a connection where this person was not giving you equal give and take. And maybe you didn't realize it, or maybe you did realize it, but you kept giving and giving and giving and giving. And I think it's interesting that temperance came out because I often talk about temperance and the balance of energy. So what happens is when you have two people and you have someone think about, it's almost like scales, but you have one person giving and the other person not giving. The more this person gives, the more this scale goes up and it becomes completely imbalanced and the energy doesn't flow. And the person who's giving becomes resentful. And then the person who's not giving, becomes resentful in their own way by feeling like the person who's giving is asking too much. Does that make sense? When I think about temperance in terms of energy exchange, I think about having 2 cups of water. So 2 people, each with their cup of water. And I don't know if you've ever done this while doing the dishes, but I have. When you pour 1 cup of water into the other, that's how balanced energy is supposed to work. It's like an exchange of energy back and forth into this cup, into this cup, into this cup, into this cup. And if you're the only one pouring water into their cup, what happens to your cup? It becomes empty. So it looks to me like right now you are having, or whoever's this reading is for, is having some sort of breakthrough moment when it comes to realizing that there was an imbalance and that, there was an imbalance of give and take and someone wasn't filling up your cup. Maybe the realization is what happens to you when you do that. Because what happens to you when you give and give and give and give is that your cup becomes empty and you become resentful and you become emotionally burnt out and you become sad and you feel unloved because you're giving all of your energy away to someone else's cup or to lots of people's cups. So it's really important to learn how to fill your own cup up first. Does that make sense? I just want to look at temperance in reverse. There's no reversals in this deck. There's actually no reversals in this deck, so maybe I shouldn't even take it in reverse. But I'm a tarot reader, so I can't help myself. So I'm just going to read. We'll put it in the upright, and then I'll also, we'll do best of both worlds here. We'll do temperance in reverse, and then I'll talk about the message in the book in the upright. So I just feel like right now you could be having a breakthrough moment where this is going to take time. It's going to take time for your manifestations to grow. It doesn't happen instantly. And that's another thing, is we live in a society where we can get everything instantly. Do you remember, I grew up in the 80s and the 90s. And back in the 80s and the 90s, you didn't get everything instantly. It was like you had to wait for your favorite show to come on. You had to wait for, like, I don't know what other example I can use. Immediately, like, waiting for your favorite show to come on each week. Like, I'm thinking about how I always I always waited for Star Trek Next Generation to come on every week. And I remember we had a TV that, like, didn't work very well, and we'd have to bang the side of it to get the picture right. Nowadays, you can just, it's all just so available that you can have it instantly. Like, everything you want, you can get instantly. Amazon, depending on where you live, like, in some places, not where I live, Amazon can deliver same day, you know? So we've really been programmed to expect things to happen instantly. And we've kind of been programmed to believe, like, if it doesn't happen right now, it's never going to happen. And I'm thinking about, you know, those comments of this, you know, your person's never coming back, just get over it. To me, that's something so insensitive to say to someone. Like, I just can't imagine saying that to someone. But anyway. But we were, you know, like I said, when I grew up, we had to wait for things. We had to, you know, I remember having to wait for things to happen. And then as I got older and technology and the world evolved, we started to be able to get things instantly. And it's really made society want things to happen right now, like instantly. And I think some people do believe, like, if it's not happening right now, it'll never happen, which is not true at all. Things take time to grow, right? Think about even seeds, like, years and years ago, I don't know this for a fact, but Spirit's telling me this, people would buy seeds to grow plants, and they would have to plant that seed, and they would have to nurture it with water and wait for it to grow. I'm thinking of, like, planting a tree. Now you can just buy them. You can just buy plants wherever. Like, they sell them even at Walmart. You can just walk in, buy your plant. It's already grown, instant gratification. Does that make sense? Anyway. So we do have an imbalance here, which is exactly what I was talking about. It also talks about impatience in reverse. So being impatient. So I think that right now you're having a breakthrough moment where you're learning how to be more patient, or you're learning how to trust in your intuition, or you're having it right now in this reading because of what I'm saying, that things don't always happen instantly. And just because something doesn't happen instantly doesn't mean it will never happen. Kind of like the way I talk to my light workers. I tell you, just start sharing your voice. Don't overthink if you only get one view. Don't overthink if in the first month you don't get many followers or people watching your content. Don't overthink that, because these things take time to marinate. Marinate? I don't know the proper word for that. I'm not from this planet, and I just imitate words. I don't know how they're actually meant to sound. I'm thinking even about food. Like, I am someone, like, the way I'm just, Spirit's reminding me of, like, Spirit, you're on me today. I'm thinking about how, like, I'll watch cooking shows. Even though I don't like food, I don't really like complicated food. I like safe food. And I hate cooking. And so probably, like, the people who hate waiting for things and don't believe in tarot, like, the way that I talk about chefs and people who like cooking, it's probably very similar. Like, Spirit's showing me a lesson in this. Because I've said before, like, I don't understand people who like to cook. Like, you have to be so patient. You spend like an hour preparing a meal, and then it takes you 5 minutes to eat it. Like, what's the point? Anyway, I don't know why I mentioned cooking. So current energy, there does seem to be some sort of breakthrough moment within your own energy, not necessarily within your connection, but within your own energy. This almost feels like it's very much about the viewer rather than the person you're connected to, which I like, because sometimes I only pick up on your person's energy. But I'm going to read you the message for Temperance in reverse when it comes to tarot, and then I'm going to read the what this book says. You must reflect and think carefully about what needs to change. Temperance reminds us that all things are only good in moderation and that we must examine in which aspects of our lives we are breaking the balance. So maybe you're having some realizations, or you need to have some realizations where there are other parts of your life that are imbalanced, or where maybe you're having a breakthrough moment about being an overgiver or a people pleaser. I'm not saying you're a bad person if you're an overgiver or a people pleaser, but I do think that we need to recognize when we're doing that so that we don't drain ourselves of our own energy, which is what I was talking about. This card signifies the need for patience, self-control, adjustment, moderation, and balance when dealing with others as well as yourself. This could be in the areas of how you think and work and how you handle school, recreation, people in your life, or the spiritual path that's set before you. So that's another thing. Like, when I started my spiritual journey, I expected fast ascension, and it doesn't always work that way. Yes, there are times where you go through moments of fast ascension. But it's also a slow process, like the awakening process, the healing journey, which has a lot to do with awakening, is a very slow process. And that reader that I keep mentioning, she says, think about all of the years you were unawakened. Think about all of the years you were unhealed. You can't just snap your fingers and have that all go away and be perfectly healed. It takes years. So be patient with yourself. As a soul, you have more than one aspect of yourself to draw on for support. It's all about integration and learning to blend and balance both the physical and the spiritual. You're an ethereal being in a physical body enjoying a human experience. Therefore, since you're both, you should honor all of you. If you go through life denying yourself the joy of combining these aspects, you're missing out on so much of what the world has to offer. Why accept a life that's half lived? The Patience card reminds you to open your heart and mind, which you already are, Ace of Swords, and we have the Ace of Cups. So it does feel like you're trying to open your mind and your heart to whatever's happening. Allow yourself to listen to other people's ideas, thoughts, and perspectives. Blissful harmony can be achieved when everyone learns to work as one. All benefit. Listening, sharing, and reaching out will help you renew your faith in yourself and humankind. You'll become more aware of the miracles around you, as well as the ones that you have a hand in creating. That's beautiful. I'm going to read the Temptation card because Spirit's like, it's right there. Just read it because it's in your past energy. Through this card, addictions and self-limiting behaviors or beliefs are being addressed. It's a time when you or someone else in your life may be placing too much emphasis on the material, physical world and its pleasures. So you could have been dealing with someone who was placing more emphasis on the material world rather than the spiritual, or however that's resonating to you. Even though we're all born connected to the divine source, we have a tendency to pull away from what once was natural. And that's exactly what I talked about. As you start to reawaken to the divine source, however that resonates to you, and just think of yourself in that hot air balloon. There's all these like lower vibrational people who, again, they're not doing it on purpose, but they can see you. They can see your light. They can see you ascending. And all of a sudden they're like, we have to stop that person. We have to stop them. And they start grabbing onto the ropes of your hot air balloon. I don't know why that's the image I'm getting, but that's what Spirit's giving me. When we become disconnected from Spirit, the source that once nourished us is often replaced with a different supply or substitute. In other words, the connection is then forged with food, alcohol, nicotine, codependency to someone, or even work, hence the term workaholic. Many of us spend our lives trying to fill the void that was created when the link to the divine was broken. The Temptation card is calling you to take a hard look at your life and ask yourself, where in my life am I suffering from addictive behavior? Is there negative thinking or behavior that's causing the life force to seep out of my soul? Are the people and relationships in my life giving me energy, or are they draining it? And that's what happens when you're giving to an addiction or to a connection that's not reciprocating that energy or giving back to you. It leaves you drained. I said it, emotionally burnt out. Learn to embrace your fears and all of your doubts so that every situation in your life becomes a learning experience. Gaining the knowledge that the physical world teaches will help you transcend to a higher spiritual awareness. This even talks about transcending. I love it. So, and now we're on the Tower, which was on the bottom of the deck when we first started. I think that's beautiful. I'll just read the first part, just so that you know whatever this Tower moment was or is, it's leading to something better. It's leading to like a higher awareness, or it's leading to a more stable foundation, or it's leading to a new cycle of a relationship. A sudden, usually unforeseen disruption or major change is happening or about to take place. And again, this was only like bottom of the deck energy, so I don't want you to like feel like there's something scary coming. I feel like this has probably already happened. Even if it appears to be a negative experience, it can lead to enlightenment or a total shift in your lifestyle. Yeah, the Tower, it's like anything that's not aligned with you must go. And even though sometimes we try and hold on to that Tower, I'm just going to keep showing this dang card that I love so much. Hang on. Our first instinct is to hold on to that Tower and keep it from crumbling. But it's meant to come down so that something better can be built in its place. I'm a little obsessed with that card. I keep pulling it out in readings. So very interesting how we have two cards for the past and then two cards for the present. 222 could be symbolic. Where's my little chart? 222, alignment. So whatever's happening right now is to bring you into alignment. And there is some sort of breakthrough moment happening for you, some sort of epiphany right now with this Ace of Swords. Do we want to read the Ace of Swords? Why not? I've never read the messages out of this deck because it's new to me. That's not the right one. Red. Pentacles first. That never happens. Usually pentacles are in the back. The first of the mental cards signifies that new beginnings and exciting challenges are coming. Yay, new beginnings, exciting challenges. And you had the Ace of Pentacles and the Ace of Cups in the shuffle. 111. By utilizing your strength, willpower, determination, and focus, and being patient, there's a potential for you to reign triumphant. Remember the success. The Tower and then the success card. Reign triumphant in many areas of your life. This card represents the Ace of Swords, and since the sword is double-edged, it can cut through all the barriers that hold you back if it's done constructively and with precision. Remember that there's another side to the blade. If you're rash or use it in a destructive way, it could be harmful to yourself and others. Always pause and think before you act. So if you're, like, seriously, if you're losing patience, the worst time to say something to someone or to take action is if you're feeling impatient, because it comes from an imbalanced energy. And I'm saying that to myself too. Like, I've had moments where I'm like in this energy where I'm like stewing and I'm like, I have to say something. Like, I'm just like, why aren't they reaching out? And I get really impatient. And then I'm like, rawr, with my sword. And I always regret it. Like, I always regret it. So make sure, like, if you're feeling impatient, don't be whipping out that sword is what I'm hearing. So if you're rash or use it in a destructive way, it could be harmful to yourself and others. Always pause and think before you act. This card is a reminder to vanquish negative thoughts from your mind, strengthen and tap into your mental powers, and use clarity with control in order to initiate new ways of thinking. So back to what I was saying about that reading. The energy that I was channeling is someone who is feeling very, it was like that devil energy was being triggered, that chaser energy was being triggered, that reading that I didn't post. And it was about someone who wanted to like impulsively reach out because possibly now that I'm seeing this reading, I don't think that was for everyone that I was channeling, but I think that it was coming from a lack of patience and wanting to control the situation. And I think that's why in the end, Spirit told me not to post it, because I feel like for a lot of people I channel for, you've worked very hard to be patient. You've worked very hard not to whip out this sword out of impatience and desperation. And that's, again, I care about all of you. Like, and I'm not going to sit here and feed you messages just for the sake of it. Like, again, I spent an hour and a half filming that reading. And in the end, Spirit told me that it wasn't for you. So again, I'm sitting on that reading until a later date. So just be patient. Any action you're taking right now, make sure it's coming from a balanced place. Make sure you think before you act. Make sure you think before you react kind of energy. And, you know, this could go for like, maybe there's someone who's recently or is about to communicate with you. And this could be your message saying, you know, think before you respond. Don't just like, rawr, how, like, you're messaging me now. What about this? What about this? Like, think about it before you speak is what I'm hearing. And yeah, wisdom and look, lovers. So this is definitely a soul contract. Like the fact that we have the Hierophant and the lovers together. And I know from that reading I did yesterday, they were not together in this deck yesterday. So I definitely feel like you could be dealing with a divine connection. And Spirit's saying right now, like, be patient. Don't act impulsively. And maybe just focus on your own spiritual growth right now. And that's why this reading feels like it's more about you. And look, the dogs are confirming it. All right, and let's look at future energy. Let's see what's coming. Future energy. Maybe for some of you, again, the fact that we have this hand coming out of the ground, I'm hearing resurfaced. So maybe for some of you, something that you've been being patient for, or maybe you've been losing your patience, has or is about to resurface here. So there's a very strong message, like, if you've been like patient and waiting for this person to reach out to you, remember not to react. Remember to take a moment before you communicate back to them, because it can be very triggering, right? Especially if you've spent like 6 months or 6 years, or even a week, I'm hearing, like ruminating about it and imagining like, if they come in, I hope they say this, and I hope they take accountability, and I hope they admit their wrongs. And let's say this person comes in and just says, oh, hey, I was thinking about you. Your immediate reaction might be like, if you're in this energy of like imbalance, might be like, what do you mean you're thinking of me? You're not going to apologize? Like, so just really reflect before you react, reflect before you communicate. And just know that if you're in an energy of impatience and imbalance, it's not the time to reach out to them, okay? Now for future energy, we have Triumph. So we have the Chariot. So there is forward movement here. And it does look like someone is taking action towards you. We have the Four of Cups on the bottom, which speaks about someone who doesn't want to miss their opportunity with you. I also watched a really interesting video yesterday by Carl Jung. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. And he was speaking about how when someone, and again, a lot of people, that 85% just think this is bullshit. Crow, confirming the message. But he was speaking about how a lot of people who are wounded and a lot of people who are unhealed, they think they want love. They imagine love. They say they want love. And then the moment they get that love, that lover's energy, that Hierophant, like soul contract energy, the moment that they get it, it's too much for them to hold. And subconsciously, energetically, they push it away. And again, a lot of people say that's BS, but I know from the work I do that that's actually something that happens. So this could have been someone who like was subconsciously pushing you away or guided to shut you out. Anyway, future energy, chariot energy. This looks like the rider card in the Lenormand deck, a message, a messenger. And it says triumph. So something good is coming. So if you are feeling impatient, don't do anything rash. Like some people on this spiritual journey feel like I'm not ascending quick enough. The things I'm manifesting aren't happening. My person isn't coming back. This must all be garbage and bullshit. And I'm going to give up tarot. I'm going to stop watching. Now, again, sometimes you need to stop watching if it's confusing you internally and making you feel sad, then definitely take a break. But so many people on the spiritual journey, right before they hit enlightenment or right before they hit their blessings, they get impatient and they give up. So triumph is here in your future outcomes. So just remember that. Someone who sees you as a missed opportunity and doesn't want to miss out on you. And now I'm hearing I don't want to miss a thing again, is coming in here. And this person has long hair like Aerosmith. Anyway, so someone is coming in here with a message it looks like communication. This looks like someone you used to have or you were trying to build a foundation with, because castles represent foundation. And I think it's interesting that like this chariot card is here. It looks like this is someone who you tried to build a tower with in the past. Because we have 2-2 and because 2s are about alignment and I want to stay, you know me, I like my readings to be aligned. I'm going to get one more card to confirm this. So future energy, please, Spirit. So just remember that. We have the Star, we have Hope, and we have the High Priestess, but like, I'm going to talk about what that means in reverse because it did come out in reverse. But this card actually, this deck doesn't have reversal meanings, which I find very interesting. So it does look like future outcomes. Someone is coming in with some sort of offer of healing here, something you've been hoping for. And remember, I talked about the seed or the sand, the sand pebble from Neverending Story, and about how right now it feels like it's about that big. Look at this. So like just nurture your manifestations, nurture what you believe in here, nurture your own healing. And that's another thing you'll hear me talk about a lot on my channel is like these soul contracts are meant to be teaching you lessons. And that's why I talk so much about you healing and you having self-love and you recognizing your patterns. And, you know, it's not just about your person. But anyway. So we've got 3 major arcanas here in the future outcome. So it does look like someone who was blocking their intuition, and I'm seeing like your person could have been in that 85%, is coming in here restoring hope in this connection. Like they are going to restore your hope in this connection. This sacrifice that you've made, Hanged Man energy, because it feels like a sacrifice. This sacrifice that you've made, look at all the major arcanas here. That is crazy pants. It is a sacrifice to like not be in contact with someone. It is a sacrifice to, you know, I don't want to say it's a sacrifice to put all that work into yourself, but so many people, that 85%, so many people hit those tower moments and they're just like, well, must not have been meant to be. I'm going to keep moving forward. And they just keep moving forward in their wounded energy. And they keep attracting in the same type of person, maybe not the same person, but the same person in a different body. And then that person treats them the exact same way. and then they say the exact same thing about that person. And instead of healing and self-reflecting and healing those wounds, they continue on their wounded path and attract somebody else in who treats them the same way. And then they're like, why do I keep attracting the same type of person? Whereas I feel like whoever this is, you and the people on this journey, it is kind of like you sacrifice. Again, I don't see it as a sacrifice, but hanged man energy, it is about surrendering to enlightenment. It's about changing your perspectives on love. It's about changing the way you view yourself and how you show up in connections. And it can feel like a sacrifice to kind of like put everything else on hold while you heal yourself. Because I think deep down, all of us just want to be loved. And I think that's why those wounded people, when they break up with someone, they just think, well, there's more fish in the sea, must not have been my person. And they keep on moving forward in that wounded form without that self-reflection, without healing those wounds once and for all so that they can call in a love that's aligned with them. Am I making sense? So I do feel like this has been a sacrifice for you, is what I'm hearing. It also shows that your sacrifice in this, like, let's say you're in separation, has been worth it. There's so many birdies outside. I love it. It feels like spring. All these birdies. Sorry, it's been a long winter. I am so excited for spring. But anyway, it is kind of a sacrifice to not chase and to just let things unfold naturally. But it shifts the energy, and you'll see that this sacrifice was worth it. And then we have the World card, which is completion. It's fulfillment. So just know that all the work you're doing on yourself, all the transformation, all the sacrifices you've made, like, again, the thing that people don't understand when they say, your person's never coming back, just get over it. Just go be with someone else. There's so many different fish in the sea. They don't understand how hard it is to have a soul contract with someone. They just don't understand. And that's not their fault. They've never experienced that. So how could they understand it, right? It's like the example that I am going to use right now is if you I'm just going to ask you out of love and respect for me, if you don't believe in what I'm about to talk about, it's about my children, and I'm just going to ask you if you have love for me and respect for me, I'm just going to ask you not to say anything about my children, because they are my children and I'm that mama bear. But I spent my life not understanding people who were transgender and non-binary. I just didn't understand it. I was really ignorant to it. It's not that I was hateful towards them. It's not that I went out of my way to be like, oh, you're this and that, and I don't know why are you like that? That's weird. Like, it's man and woman. Like, it wasn't like I was like that. But I was very ignorant to it. I didn't understand it. And again, it's not that I had any hate in my heart, but I was ignorant to it. Didn't understand it. I know I've said that 5 times. And this is kind of the example I use. Until you're in that situation, you don't actually know how it feels. So I was living in ignorant bliss. Like, I was just like, well, yep, that's great for them. That's not me. So I don't really care. And I remember, like, I had a friend whose son was transgender, and I was like, I don't really understand that. I mean, they can be whatever they want, but I don't really get it. Again, there was no hate in my heart, but I just didn't get it. Like, I remember watching the storyline on Shameless where, what's his name? Ian fell in love with a transgender person. And I just never connected with that storyline because, again, I was very ignorant to it. The one thing that I knew when I had kids is that I never wanted them to feel like they couldn't talk to me. I never wanted them to feel, because I am like, I do support and believe in like same-sex couples and things like that. So I knew one thing is that I never wanted my kids to ever feel like they should be afraid to tell me who they are. So from the moment they were young, I just said, it doesn't matter to me who you are or who you love. I accept you. Like, I don't, it's never feel scared to tell me that. And I'm getting to my point. There's a method to my madness. I remember like standing in my kitchen when my kids were like, my first set of twins, I think they were 4. And my mother-in-law kept saying to my daughter, like, oh, well, when you grow up and marry a man, you'll have to do this. And some man will snap you up and some man. And she just kept like this narrative of, you have to grow up and marry a man. And I can remember saying, or whoever you choose to grow up and marry. Like I was always like saying that to my kids. And now I know it was my higher self, because my higher self knew that my kids were someday going to come to me and talk to me about the fact that, they were transgender and non-binary. And again, if you don't believe in that or you have something hateful to say, I'm going to ask you with peace and love in my comment section to not say anything, because it's about my children and I am that mama bear. I am protective. That is another reason why I don't gender my readings and I don't force people into little boxes. But anyway, my whole point is that before that happened to me, before my kids came to me and said, I feel like I'm non-binary, I feel like I'm in the wrong body, I was very ignorant to all of that. And then when I found myself in that moment, it completely shifted my perspective, like hanged man energy. It completely shifted my perspective. I don't even know what my point was. My point is that sometimes you can't, those people who are trying to weigh us down and pull us down and tell us that this isn't real, or like if you have friends that are telling you that you're nuts, it's not their fault that they don't understand. They've just never experienced it. That was my whole point. Oh my gosh. Okay. Anyway, with this intuition card, I do feel sorry for that. No, I'm not going to apologize. I do feel like somewhere along the lines, you were dealing with someone who was not listening to their intuition. And that's exactly what I was talking about when I was talking about Carl Jung, or however you say it, and about how some people want that love, and then when they get it, they don't know what to do with it. And on a subconscious level, they start to push it away. They start to deny it. They start to emotionally withdraw and block it. And I crow. I do. As soon as I touch the High Priestess card, that crow starts cawing. And I do believe that whoever you were connected to in the past was probably blocking their intuition, not listening to their inner voice. But again, this deck doesn't actually have reversals. And I feel like you've been patient and you've been working on yourself. And in the future, you will see that, like in the future, I do believe that this person, this little seed that you planted and believed in, your hope will be restored here with the star. The star can also be about reconnection. And I feel like whoever this is that you're connected to is going to trust their intuition and come towards you, because we do see someone coming towards you here. Could be a Pisces, could be a Cancer. We also have Sagittarius, we have Capricorn, we have Aquarius, we have, look, this is beautiful. This is like full circle moment here. So look at this. We have hope, something that you've been hoping for and something that's felt like a sacrifice to you. Because again, I think I lost my train of thought way back there in the reading, but it's not easy to like have unconditional love and have a soul contract with someone and believe they're going to come back. I think that people look at people like us and think like, oh, they're just crazy. Like there's so many more fish in the sea. But to me, it's much easier just to be like, yeah, there are more fish in the sea. I'm going to go get one. Like, I'm just going to keep on keeping on, Like, to me, that seems way easier than what we do around here. The self-reflection, the healing, believing in ourselves, trusting in our own intuition, looking at our shadows, being alone, right? Because a lot of it happens in isolation. Think of the hermit. A lot of this awakening and healing happens in total isolation. Does that make sense? Anyway, and then we have the world, which shows the completion of a cycle, things coming back around, things coming full circle, but the completion of a cycle, you know? And look at this, balance, which is what this reading has been about, it started off that there was an imbalance in that fountain, right? Temperance talked about an imbalance. What's in your future energy? Balance. And I know it may trigger some of you for me to say this, but let's look at the worst case scenario for us. Like, again, I feel like I have a lot of people for some reason in this reading who like don't believe in this stuff, because I'm getting a lot of that energy in this. There are some readings where I never get that energy, but in this reading, there's something about how the outside world views people like us. And I'm just going to talk about like worst case scenario, your person doesn't come back. And I know that's triggering to hear, but worst case scenario, your person doesn't come back. But look at everything you've done. You've broken your codependency. You've broken your unhealthy attachments. You've healed your inner wounds. You have new perspectives on love. You have self-love. You have unconditional love towards yourself. You know you deserve balance. You know you deserve reciprocity. You've learned how to trust your intuition. So the worst thing that could happen is that your person doesn't come back, but that the universe sends you something even better. And that's how we have to look at it. We have to kind of detach from the outcome here and look at it like I've been talking about this a lot, that there's a successful outcome behind every door. And that's what I'm talking about, how it's easy to just, I feel very like, my Libra is coming out, like my Libra is coming out in this reading, my like, roar. But that's what I'm talking about. It's much easier to just keep on keeping on and live in that ego and live in that shadow and just keep attracting the same type of person and just keep, chasing love, when this journey is meant to teach us that love is within us. The love we've been looking for is within us. And like I said, at the end of the day, look at it this way. If your person never wakes up to their intuition, all this work you've done on yourself, I already mentioned everything that you've been working on, the codependency, the attachments, the healing, the self-love, will only put you in alignment, 222, with someone who's aligned for you, whether that is your person or it's not. And I'm not saying that to get you to I'm not saying that to scare you or to tell you that your person is never coming back. But there's a win-win outcome here. There's triumph at the end of this journey, where you align with someone who's in alignment with you. So just, again, remember that it's not all for nothing. Even if your person never comes back, it's not all for nothing, because it is transforming you into your higher self. It's transforming you into a higher vibration, into someone who's alignment and who is calling in someone to align with you, someone where there will be balance. And those people who just keep on keeping on and just keep like, oh, there's more fish in the sea, I'm just going to go find somebody else. Guess what? They keep repeating a cycle. They keep attracting the same type of person, and then they wonder why. They wonder, why do I keep attracting this person? Think about what this connection was meant to teach you. It was meant to teach you to stop that pattern, is what I'm hearing. So that either your person, soul contract, lover's energy, can come back in alignment, or the universe will send you someone who is in alignment with you, okay? Anyway, oh my gosh, this reading, I don't even know if I want to get any more. You know what I want to do? I want to get a different deck just to confirm what is in your future. Look, we have Empress energy, beautiful, new life, abundance, fertility, Empress energy. So that is like divine feminine energy. That is being in the energy of love, compassion, unconditional love for others, patience, trusting your intuition. Again, there's a gift right there. That's a gift right there. We have, look, share the love. And this specifically shows two hearts coming together as one. And now I'm hearing two become one by the Spice Girls. Again, is that by the Spice Girls? Again, I get older movies and older music. If you are someone, listen, if you are someone who wants to like learn how to listen to your intuition, I haven't actually read the book that came with this deck, but when I was looking at the spreads earlier, it talks about psychic development. It talks about clairsentience, inner feeling, which is your intuition. It talks about clairaudience, inner hearing. So anytime you hear, like anytime I hear something, you know how I'm always saying I hear things? That's clairaudience. So you could have clairaudience or you could be clairaudience. There's clairvoyance, inner vision. There's color interpretation. There's number interpretation. There's so many ways to build your psychic ability. So just, you know, if you're someone who's looking at building your psychic ability, maybe start with one of these decks. I'll list them in the comment below or the description box below. But these decks talk about how to really like work on your psychic powers. So I just wanted to mention that. So Empress energy, divine feminine. We have the Emperor. See, that's exactly what I mean. I'm asking about what's in your future, and we've got the Emperor and the Empress. So again, in your future, you're either this completely balanced person who is very balanced in your feminine energies and your masculine energies, which brings in a lot of abundance, a lot of love, a lot of happiness, even just with self. You're attracting in an emperor here, whether that is your emperor, your divine masculine, or that is someone else. And again, I know a lot of you with that soul contract, when you hear me talk about someone else, I know your soul and your heart are like, but I don't want anybody else. And that's okay if you're feeling that way. But just remember, try and release the attachment. And just, again, think of it like as a child, Santa Claus. I would say, you know, I would be like, I'll put what I really want. I'll ask Santa for what I really want. And worst case scenario, he doesn't bring me what I want and I get something equally amazing. Think about it like that. We have healing, the star, confirmation. And look at this imagery. Remember, we're talking about what's in the future. Breaking free from attachments, breaking free from the chains. Remember the hot air balloon. Remember. I know that it can't, like, I know that it's impossible for humanity to all awaken. But sometimes I like to envision like what the world would look like if everybody healed and was like on this journey. What a beautiful place it would be. Now I'm hearing the song. I don't even know the words. Something about lemon drops and gumdrops. Oh, what a world it would be. That's what I'm hearing. And that's why this card wanted to cut. That's why release the outcome. That's why I am so passionate about what I do, because even if it's just like when you heal the people around you on an energetic level. When you shine your light, you help uplift humanity. And guess what? Looking around, humanity needs it right now. Like I cry when I think about when that whole thing started going on with Trump and Canada. Like I'm in Canada. I cried. Like I cried. Anyway. like the States and Canada, two places that have always been allies, now, you know, against each other. It's just so sad to me. It's so sad. Well-deserved reward. Your well-deserved reward is coming. Believe it. This reading, this reading is intense. What are you? We have open up and we have just breathe. We have 4 4s. So you are protected. I have to, everything for me is muscle memory. So I have to like redo the action in order to figure out third eye chakra, like psychic ability. Come on now. I bet you're a psychic. I bet you have psychic abilities. Is moving on your darkest fear? Because I did feel when I said that, when I said like worst case scenario, your person doesn't come back. I feel for a lot of you that was a fear in you. And again, that it doesn't, releasing the outcome will not, releasing the outcome doesn't mean that it won't ever happen, but it really does free up the energy to allow what needs to happen. Maybe your darkest fear is moving on from this person. And Spirit's saying, like, just because you move forward doesn't have to mean that it's, you know, the end. Sometimes, again, releasing the outcome can actually make your manifestations come in faster. Because sometimes when we're holding on to something, it's Spirit trying to teach us a lesson about letting go. And again, the cliche saying that I always used to make fun of, if you love something, let it go. And if it's yours, if it's meant to be, if it's yours, it'll come back. All right. So let's look at future energy for this beautiful collective. Other than being freaking magical, look, I cannot, if you don't know what that is, that's the 4 of Wands. That's the 1111. That's union. That's magic. That's in your outcome energy. And we have balance in the upright. So that's the future here. We have, oh my gosh, that's beautiful. Same energy as the other deck. So we have 4 of Wands, which is union, stability, marriage, living together, you know, stability, again, something solid. We have balance. So, and look at this. This is balance between 2 people. This is equal give and take. This is a balanced exchange of energy. The 2 cups, flow. This is flow. Then we have teach, Hierophant energy. So for some of you, you could already be a teacher, but it could be in your future to teach others, right? To teach others this magical way of living. Maybe somebody here has a Pomeranian. Did I think somebody confirmed I got that right? That's a Pomeranian. I also saw a Westie. Is that what it's called, a Westie? So in your future outcome, you have commitment, higher level of commitment. You also have the potential of teaching others and leading others. And again, just think about it. It doesn't matter how many people you teach. In this image, it's 5 people. So your future outcome, you could have, because you're shining your light and you're healing, you could have the potential to change 5 people's lives, right? And then think about if each one of those people changes at least one person's life, that was 10 lives you touched. Does that make sense? I'm thinking, I know this is a horrible representation, but if you've ever watched the movie Contagion with Kate Winslet, where they talk about how the virus spreads and how quickly it spreads, that's how I'm seeing light in this sense. Again, just if you touch 5 people's lives and all those people touch one person's life, through your teaching, that's 10 people's lives you've touched and changed. Make sense? Anyway, it also speaks of marriage and commitment and soul contracts coming together. So again, I see a win-win outcome here for you, my friend. So release the outcome, trust in the journey, trust in the sacrifice that you're making, trust in the surrender. Because my friend, that is beautiful. And then we have embrace, which is 21, which is that world energy. It's fulfillment. So in your future, you have a fulfilling romantic connection. Can you tell me who this is? I'll just see. We have coming together. It came out in reverse. So even though Spirit, I almost didn't ask that. Instinctively, I just said, can you tell me who this is? We have coming together, and remember that that hand with the two pieces of the heart. So whoever this is someone on your level, someone in alignment with you. This is like Two of Cups energy. You and this person creating something beautiful. It did come out in reverse. So who could this be if it's in reverse? Someone you're in separation with right now. Two of Cups in reverse, separation, imbalance. Yes. Sorry. So for who this is, it does talk about this could be someone where you were in an imbalanced connection with them, which keeps coming out in this reading. That's why I'm laughing, because it's just such confirmation from my guides, from your guides. It's like, it's a little freaking magical, isn't it? So relationship imbalance, codependency. I asked who this was. It came out in reverse. Even though there's not reversals in these decks, I still like to talk about it. So this is someone that at one point there could have been codependency and imbalance, which was the past energy in this reading. So it checks out. Spirit says it checks out. This is also someone who's wanting like an open and honest, heartfelt conversation with you. It talks about starting a relationship. So starting a relation, this person wanting to start a relationship that leads to a higher level of commitment, leads to balance. And I'm telling you, if you were in an imbalanced connection, it doesn't matter how much you say, it's imbalanced, it's imbalanced, it's imbalanced. The only way to rebalance that energy is to kind of remove yourself from it, or the universe picks up that person and removes them from your energy, so that the energy can rebalance. The only way to achieve that balance, which is it here in the future, is to learn that it needs to be balanced, that you can't be the one holding that tower together. You can't be the one constantly giving, giving, giving. It doesn't work like that. And that's not fair to you either, right? This also shows like a balanced connection. So that's lovely. I don't even know if do I want to get anything else, Spirit? Let's get some number cards. Number cards feel right. So let's just get you a few number cards. We have skipping steps. So for some of you, current energy, maybe you want to skip some of those steps. I understand. Trust me, I understand. When I first started my journey, I say it all the time. And I was hearing, it'll take years. I was like, no, it won't. I don't have to follow the rules. I can make it work. I can will it to work. I can make that fountain work. All right, so let's see what number you need to hear. We have connect, 144, communicate with the divine. Your angels are urging you to make a connection with the divine in your daily life. They want you to strengthen your ability to communicate on a high vibrational level. Sit in meditation right now with your hands on your crown chakra, the top of your head, and envision yourself opening up to the wisdom of the divine. And remember the Magician card, and there's a message there. Hang on, let me find it. Where are you? Remember this one. Look at that crown chakra. That was one of the first cards I saw in this reading. So there's definitely a message here about connecting with the divine. Open up to the wisdom of the divine. Fuck what those muggles say. That's what I'm hearing. We have surrender. Remember I said surrender. Surrender the outcome. Release a problem. Your angels encourage you to surrender a present worry you have to them. Whether you are confused, feeling out of control, or simply at a loss for solutions, you can energetically release this issue to the divine. Put yourself in a full body stretch right now. Do it. As you inhale, focus on breathing in support from your angels. As you exhale, focus on releasing control. So I am going to take that for you. So what else does this beautiful person need to hear? There's one on the floor. I just messed up the alignment. Oh no! There's one on the floor, which I need to go get. We have health. Take care of your health, which I'm trying to do right now myself. Take care of your health. There's an urging from your angels to take seriously a health matter that you have felt, oh my gosh, that you have let fall by the wayside. How you treat your body is important. It shows self-love and care. Reflect on what you've been avoiding. Make the doctor's appointment or address a concern you've been putting off. And we have set priorities. Say no to distractions moving forward. Immediate action is required. Your angels call you to prioritize what you want. There are many distractions around you presently. Remember how I said I felt a lot of I did feel like people pulling on those hot air balloon ropes in this reading. I felt like a lot of distracting energy in this reading. There are many distractions around you presently, and the challenge is to keep your mindset on your true desire. Eliminate the distractions today by postponing or declining anything that isn't essential. So my friends, I am going to leave it here. That was kind of like a very channeled reading. So those of you who watched it and like when I get those downloads, Spirit and myself say thank you. And yeah, I'm sending you guys, as always, lots of love and light, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.